All of us know about the pyramids of Egypt, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. This pyramid structure is also obtained when we illustrate the number or biomass or energy of different organisms at different trophic levels in an ecosystem, also known as the ecological pyramid. The ecological pyramid is a graphic representation of an ecological parameter such as number of individuals, amount of biomass, or amount of energy present at different trophic levels in an ecosystem. Trophic levels represent the position of organisms in the food chain. The base of an ecological pyramid represents the first trophic level or producers. The next trophic level comprises primary consumers, followed by secondary consumers, and finally tertiary consumers at the top. Each of these trophic levels represents a functional level and not a single species as such. Also, all the organisms at a particular trophic level must be considered for any calculation on number, biomass, or energy. For example, we need to consider all the organisms in trophic level 2, namely the grasshopper, mouse, and squirrel, for any calculations on number, biomass, or energy. This is because our generalizations will be invalid if we consider only a few organisms at any trophic level. However, it is also possible that a given organism simultaneously occupies more than one trophic level in the same ecosystem. For example, when a pigeon consumes grains and fruits, it is a primary consumer. Conversely, when the same pigeon consumes worms and insects, it becomes a secondary consumer. Based on the types of parameters used, ecological pyramids are of 3 types: pyramid of numbers, pyramid of biomass, and pyramid of energy. A pyramid of numbers is a graphic representation of the number of individuals per unit area present at various trophic levels in an ecosystem, and its shape varies from one ecosystem to another. For example, in grassland or pond ecosystems, there are a large number of autotrophs or producers per unit area. However, the number of herbivores that depend on these producers is few, and the number of carnivores that depend on the herbivores is still fewer. Therefore, in these 2 cases, the pyramid of numbers is an upright one, that is, converging towards the tip. Now, in a parasitic food chain like the one shown in the image, a single large tree is supplying food to a large number of herbivorous birds. These herbivorous birds, in turn, are food for a still larger population of ectoparasites, on which a large number of hyperparasites depend. Therefore, in this case, the pyramid of numbers is inverted. Now, consider a third case, where a single large tree provides food to a large number of herbivorous birds. These birds, in turn, are a source of food for carnivorous birds like eagles and kites, which are fewer in number, and hence the pyramid is spindle-shaped. That is, broader in the center and narrow above and below. Now, let's learn about the pyramid of biomass, which is a graphic representation of biomass present per unit area in each trophic level in an ecosystem. In a terrestrial ecosystem, producers have maximum biomass, which decreases progressively from lower to higher trophic levels. Therefore, the pyramid of biomass in a terrestrial ecosystem is always an upright one. On the other hand, the pyramid of biomass in an aquatic ecosystem is either inverted or spindle-shaped. For example, in the food chain shown in the image, the biomass of carnivorous fish is greater than herbivorous fish, and the biomass of the herbivorous fish is much greater than the producers or phytoplankton, leading to an inverted pyramid. However, in aquatic ecosystems like the ones found in the North Pacific Ocean, the pyramid of biomass is spindle-shaped as the biomass of zooplankton exceeds that of the producers or phytoplankton, while the biomass of primary and secondary carnivores such as herring and sea lion gradually decreases as they are fewer in number compared to the zooplankton. Finally, a pyramid of energy is a graphic representation of the amount of energy trapped per unit time and unit area at different trophic levels of an ecosystem. Each bar in a pyramid of energy represents the energy present at each trophic level at a given time or annually per unit area. Energy is always higher at lower trophic levels, that is, the producer, and flows to higher levels. Moreover, some energy is used for the metabolic activities of organisms, and some energy is dissipated as heat in the process. That is why a pyramid of energy is always upright and never inverted. An ecological pyramid also has certain limitations. For instance, it always considers a simple food chain which doesn't exist in nature. Moreover, it doesn't consider a food web and does not take into account species that exist simultaneously at two or more trophic levels. Another limitation of an ecological pyramid is that it never takes into account decomposers or saprophytes, though they play a significant role in an ecosystem. In general, an ecological pyramid shows the feeding relationship between groups of organisms and also depicts the amount of biomass or energy present at various trophic levels in an ecosystem.